Hello. We're going to get the lesson. Well, we're going to do the meditation first and then the lesson. We're going to get that started really quickly. But I wanted to just make test. Why is it not loud enough? Test. Oh, that's okay. That's better. Couple of announcements. First of all, of course, we are starting the we're going to be doing 2 Mondays, 2 Sundays for Sacred Sphere starting next month. I didn't pull up the schedule. It'll take me 2 seconds to pull it up. I'm like, "Hi, Jamie. Hi, Lori. Lori, are you feeling better? I'm so sorry you were sick or are sick. I've been thinking about you. Um, let's see. Okay. Well, okay, let me start from we have, oh, that's June. Where's my July? Where my July at? Is it, when's July 4th? It's next week, right? Yeah, the 30th. Okay, so we have a gap week for quantum resonance. That's level 1 and level 2. On Monday, if you are in Modern Mystic, of course, which I hope you are, I assume you are, because you all can come in for free because it's a part of Sacred Sphere. So we have a workshop on Monday for Modern Mystic. It's 4 to 5:30 Pacific. That's on the Akashic Record. That's another thing I'll give you a link to. It's an Akashic Record workshop where I'm going to be giving you a group reading where you will be pulling you. I'm going to guide us in a group invocation. You'll be participating on your end, like on your own, and then you'll have your questions prepared, and then you will pull through information from the Akashic Records on your own, journal it and all that. And then after that, I'm going to then call up people for hot seat readings. So if you wanted to have a hot seat reading, then you just need to submit for it, because that way I can intuitively pull it through. Trying to give you all the links. Akashic Reading Group. There we go. I'll send this out on email again. Shorten URL, copy, and I will also. On email, because I will send it out on the. Today was better. Good. I'll send it out in the announcement for Modern Mystic. But there's that. That is the submission form for the Akashic group reading if you want to receive a hot seat reading. And I also have that webinar that's on Friday at noon. And apparently I had put down Thursday, the 27th, instead of Friday, the 27th. So I'm sure that was as clear as mud. But anyway, if you want to come to that, you can sign up for that. I guess if you want the link for that, I can pop it in here too. I'll just do it. I'll grab it in a bit. And the other thing is, I have the sign up for the Modern Mystic. If you want to lead a session or sessions, I have the actual list of the ones that I'm hoping to cover, or have you guys take over. But what I can do also is just give you the event link, the Calendly link, and that just has it all listed for you. I shared it in one space, but I need to share it in all of the spaces. So let me grab that now and pop it in here for your ease. Akashic Record Reader, where is it? Mentoring 101, Charmed Life, session, live meditation. Oh my goodness, why can't I find it? Okay. What's it called? Sacred Sphere. Host Sacred Sphere. Oh, that's why. I thought it said something else. Host Sacred Sphere. So before this happens, we're going to have a group meeting just to talk about how to do it, what you need, what you don't need from me. And so there's the link to just grab one of those or two of those if you like. Yeah, so I have it's the last Monday and last Sunday of the month, generally, like the ones that I'm seeing if you guys want to host. So we'll have a meeting for whoever wants to participate this way to host a sacred sphere. We'll have a meeting the week before, basically, the first one. And so yes, I would love for you guys to do that. Grab those, schedule yourself, and then I'll get you equipped. And another thing is on sacred spheres, especially on the Mondays, starting on Mondays, I'm actually going to assign homework, in meaning that I'm going to suggest something for you to practice in class. I'll tell you in advance. And that way, if it's something you want to bring prepared, this coming one, which is, I already forgot to double check the date. It's going to be the 7th. Is that right? Or is that no? um, Gosh, I can't find my schedules. The first Sacred Sphere Monday. Oh, yeah, it is the 7th. Sorry, I was looking in the wrong place. Oh my gosh, I swear I'm together. I swear I'm grounded, but I've got a lot of balls in the air. So the first Sacred Sphere that's on a Monday will be July 7th. I will be leading that one. And for that, so that's the next Sacred Sphere, as well as the first one that's on a Monday. For the Sacred Sphere that is on July 7th, Monday, July 7th, I would like for you all to practice a progressive relaxation. You've heard me do it a million times. And I'm going to teach a little, well, time permitting, I'll teach a little lesson on it today. If it goes too long, then I'm not going to teach the lesson and I will just send it to you guys, but it'll be a short lesson. So that is, I want you to practice that. So what we'll do is when we come together, I will actually put you in breakout rooms. I mean, unless only like 3 people show up, then then we'll just do it all in one main breakout room and you'll just practice it. And the practicing for something like a progressive relaxation, I expect you can just alter yourself slightly and just bring that progressive energy through, guide us through that. Alternatively, if you are like, I feel like I need to read scripts before I actually practice, I'll provide you with a script. You know what I mean? Like if that's what you want. Some people work better with scripts first and then not later, but some people don't. But I honestly think that you could do it without it. I genuinely feel that way, but I want to give you all the support that you will, you could use. So there's that. And I will make a proper announcement about that. Was there anything else? I think that was it. Okay. So, how about we go ahead and get into the meditation, and then we have our lesson following up right after that as I cue it up. Anybody need anything before we head into this? Just give me a comment, and I'm happy to chat with you for us to, to connect before we do this part of it, if you like. Seven. Where is the next one? There we go. Oh, no. I don't see any comments from you guys, so. This is June 18th. Okay. Hold on one second. Oh, I know what happened. And all right. All right. Getting settled in. This is for realsies now. This is grounding magic. And boy, I think we all can use it right now. There's a lot going on in the world. And we are called to be grounded and expanded. That is expansion. grounded and ascended at the same time. Creates expansion. Right now, I feel like grounding. I feel called that we could all use some grounding. So go ahead and get yourself settled in, and you're going to hear it play in just a moment. Welcome to your sacred practice. In the meditation ahead, we will be calling in presence by way of grounding and beginning to contemplate the concept of grounding, to bring awareness to your connection to earth, and even beyond connection to earth, the fact that you are earth, bringing us present in appreciation and gratitude. And this practice is magical in the sense that it does provide the container for material manifestation. After all, as the earth, you are material. All our hopes, dreams, and wishes that we would like to manifest are of some kind of material nature. And so let's begin this dance with the earth with 3 slow and easy breaths at your own pace. 3 nice cleansing breaths. Allowing these divine breaths to bring you very present. And as the cycle of 3 breaths complete, allowing your breathing to return to a natural pace, whatever seems comfortable for you. And with the cradle of the greater awareness around it, leaning into the presence that breathing affords. Simply letting the breath of life to show us the now. And perhaps on one of those cycles of breath, the inhale, the pause, the long exhale, and the pause. You might give permission to one of those precious, unique cycles of breathing to really show you the precious now. For the next breath that you take is the only one of its kind in all of the eternal universe and in all of the eternal you. And continuing to let the calm and easy breathing minister to you in presence. Let's invite and allow the awareness of your connection to your seat, whatever it is upon which you sit or recline. Just bring your awareness here and notice that connection, that weight. Just notice weight, the sense of weighing down by this physical law of gravity. As you notice it, I wonder if you could color it with a deeper sense of comfort. that it is comforting to be cradled in your seat or in your recline. You can even just ponder what it means to enhance the sense of comfort as you are held now, having the perspective that you are held, cradled. The sense that if your mother's hand were very, very large and soft, and she could just hold you, allowing the hand to conform to you so that there is a gentle yet powerful security. Just wondering if you could imagine that that's what is occurring here. For the physical law of gravity is a promise that you are held by and to the earth. Gravity creates a magnetism, ensuring that you are always a part of the earth, yet have a freedom to move about. Perhaps you could bring your awareness to your heart and extend gratitude that this promise of magnetism, of the embrace, is constant, constant in your journey. And here as just a reminder of how you are held. And noticing how you connect in other ways to this gravitational magnet, your feet, how your limbs, your arms tend to want to hang and relax. In fact, it is relaxing to allow gravity to hold you. So let's welcome now that relaxation to your whole physical body. Doing a scan now, starting at the feet, bring your awareness here. Invite and allow the calm, the relaxing that comes by surrendering, by agreeing with this promise of gravity, with this promise of being connected to earth. Up and over the feet and ankles, just letting the relaxation that naturally occurs as gravity gently pulls you, comfortably pulls you close to earth. Up to the knees, a deep, calm, and inner calm beginning to form as you welcome relaxation now to the thighs and the upper legs, all around the pelvic region, just simply wondering what it means to sink and drift and be comforted. Up around the midsection and the low back, solar plexus, up all through the spine. And now as the spine wants to welcome relaxation, perhaps there's like a tension that is released. And as it's released, it just falls to the earth. The earth, a powerful compost mechanism, an alchemy machine And so you can just release as you relax and allow this inner calm to continue to form as it moves up all through your chest and back, up and over the shoulders, down the arms, out the fingertips, inviting any of that tension release to fall at the tips of fingers. All around the neck now, up to the jaw, where there could be tension here as well. And we realize that as the physical body relaxes and allows, that the spiritual body does as well. The mental just starts to come into a flow with the intention, emotional body being able to calm, and all around the face and the throat, all over the face with the tiny muscles just releasing, relaxing, as this full surrender to the earth's magnetism completes up and out the top of your head and all around. You can truly let go. This is the time you've set aside to let go and come very present. Present in your connection to now. And now let's invite a full awareness, an awareness of your whole body and being at once. Perhaps this is to zoom out, or perhaps it is to just be deep inside your body all at once. One holistic being. Taking a moment to really feel the whole being at once. And now, as of course you are connected to Earth, bringing a deep sense of presence with the truth that you, in fact, are the Earth. Just as your finger is your body, you are the Earth. You are one with this entity which has an ecosystem of which you are an integral part. And now I invite you to visualize, imagine, or have a sense that you are sitting somewhere in nature, a very comfortable, natural terrain. Just a moment or two of imagining this so you can draw up that visceral connection and attunement with the earth. Let your inner senses fill it in whatever way brings you that deeper calm and also a sense of lightness, comfort all at once. Perhaps it is even recalling a memory of one of the times you sat on the earth, very comforted, relishing the senses all around, breeze, the textures of the terrain upon which you are sitting, the temperature, the sounds, the scent, all here for you and with you. And invite or recall whatever seems appropriate for you, what it's like to notice the vibration of the earth. That vibration that is not just below you, but is with you as well. And the earth vibrates to and even through you, all through your being. And now let's visualize, have a sense, or pretend that before you is a very large black crystal, a rock, a crystal of some kind that is black. Perhaps you're familiar with obsidian or onyx, a very stately, beautiful, rich black crystal. It's larger than you. It's before you with all of its beauty. If the light catches it a certain way, there may be a shine or a reflection. And while it is so rich in its black color that you can't see through it, it isn't transparent, but you can see into it and feel into it. Imagine or allow yourself to feel into this highly charged black crystal before you. And I wonder if it seems that the black crystal would like permission to also feel and see into you. If you choose, you may permit this resonance between you, knowing that any and all things that occur in this wonderful now are for your highest and greatest good. Take a moment or two here with the wonderful resonance between you and this black crystal. And just let this attunement occur in whatever way feels wonderful to you. And now, as you can deeply draw in the resonance of this place, this now, and all of the frequency, the vibration that you have exchanged with the black crystal. And as the images fade, they move deeply into your being, for in each sacred and precious now, you can be changed forever. And with gratitude for the reminder, the change of mind, to be aware that you are connected to Earth, and yes, even you are Earth. You are this cherished, you are this precious. And as you have deeply experienced the now, this presence, you can carry it with you. Once again, wondering how it's possible that in any sacred moment you can be changed forever. And if you would like to invite and allow this to be true for you, you may do this. Let it come into your being like a download that can be unpacked and unfolded in each now that goes forward. And so as we close this sacred work, sealing it with gratitude and appreciation, you are invited now to continue to walk your journey upon the earth in your power and in your awareness of how precious you are as earth. Okay, hello, welcome back. Oh, looks like someone left. Did I bore you that much? All right, we are going to get into a lesson here, and it is test. My volume went down again. So, yes, unless anybody has anything they want to chat about or ask about, if you have any questions, or if you need any support on anything. I'm thinking not, but go ahead and give me a little comment there if you do. All right, I'm going to play my slate. And we are continuing in our learning about this state of counseling, and you might even say coaching. And this is something that we can find in many different kinds of sessions. We've talked about the active listening. We've talked about how to be able to support while our client is actually maybe venting or sharing what it is that they would like to set as their intention. And while they are more in their conscious state, you might still be sort of surfing the state so that you can be connected to how you can provide that support in this portion that is counseling or coaching. Now, we're going to dive into a modality here that is really, really cool. It's called neurolinguistic programming, NLP. NLP is actually something that is done in something that is like coaching or counseling, but it is actually working in the client to their subconscious because it's working on their thoughts and their beliefs. It is helping to actually use language to reprogram what is happening in their psyche, where they have created certain thoughts or calcified beliefs, and we're actually breaking them up. Now, this is for some people a review, because I did present this class in another program. However, it was more than a year ago, and it's really densely packed. So we actually have 2 lessons on this. The first one is coming up just now, and we're gonna dive in. We're gonna do a nice survey. We have a couple of demonstrations that are in these 2 lessons as well. One of our fellow students actually volunteered, and we, saw some of the NLP techniques at play. So, without further delay, we're gonna go ahead and get into these lessons, and you can proceed to those now. All right, so this is the training manual from the NLP certification course that I took. So I had about, I counted it, I think it was 62 dedicated hours of training. And then also while I was in HMI, all throughout the 2 years that I was getting my certified clinical hypnotherapist and mind body psychology degree, you practice it in the labs, you know what I mean? Like you can practice whatever techniques that you are practicing as a clinical hypnotherapist throughout. So, but as specific for NLP, I have, like I said, about 62 hours and this manual. And I also want to attribute to the person who trained me in it. Like I said, it was through HMI, Hypnosis Motivation Institute, the College of Hypnotherapy from which I graduated, and the instructor is Joe Tabanella, who's a very dynamic and exciting presenter and teacher, just a wonderful human being. He's really done a lot of practice. I would say his practice is mostly NLP, from what I understand. That's where we'll start with that, just to set up. And before we head in, I just want to pose a few questions. What will you do when your life is entirely and completely guided by your intuition and in alignment with your spiritual principles? What will you do when your life is a series of exciting synchronicities, chance meetings, your spirit mind being able to poke through your real world mind so that you know these positive things in advance, so that you are aligning with these wonderful, joyful experiences, so that when you encounter others, you are noticing your transformation and theirs? What will you do when you live a life that is just a series of miracles? Really and truly a series of miracles. And how would it feel when each day is charged with some wonderful otherworldly experience? You are always having that transdimensional, interdimensional experience of having evidential communication, communion, and manifestation with the realms beyond, with angelic and spiritual guidance. And you are also, how will it feel when you are also a walking and living spiritual guide of your life, of your loved ones' lives? How will it feel when you are just so certain of your spiritual abilities, of the world of spirit, because it's as real to you, it's as behaviorally evidential to you as the fact that you drink water? How will that feel? All right. Now, we all are probably here because we experience some form of that. And so I just want us to imagine, let's say 1 month from now, imagine 1 month from now, and have this true reality. 1 month from now, your life has completely changed. You are living as really a kind of avatar on this plane where the synchronicities are undeniable, you know, and not you're reaching for them. Maybe that's what you did before, but now they just show up and they make you laugh all the time. Someone says something and you go, I knew they were going to say that. Maybe you don't actually say it, but in your heart, you're like, I knew that was going to be said. I knew that was going to be happen. In 2 months from now, you lost a favorite item of yours. Oh, shoot. This item that I have that is, you know, I know items aren't that important, possessions aren't that important, but this one was it has, it has importance to me. Maybe it has a monetary value. Yeah. And you know what? It has some kind of special meaning to it, some nostalgia, something that is really important to me. Oh, and I've lost it. And when you do that 2 months from now, you just simply have this moment of asking your higher self, and higher self says, "It's over in this area, and you will find it in the right amount of time." Maybe you find it right away, but maybe you find it in a day, and the lining up of finding that the next day, that journey of it was kind of fun, like that scavenger hunt, that treasure hunt, and then it landed right at the perfect time, and your higher self said, "See, you knew it was there, and also in this moment is the time that you most need the encouragement of how we have this connection. In 2 months, you have that experience." And then what if in 6 months, when in 6 months from now, you're having daily experiences that are like what people describe when they have out of body experiences or when they have psychedelic journeying experiences, and you have it in a sustainable way that takes you into the interdimensional spaces, and you're doing this regularly. I it and it still continues to be something that is mind-blowing, and yet also your normal. So that when you are fully immersed with your full consciousness in realms that are like angelic realms, seeing past loved ones, or flying, really and truly flying, like your heart has always wanted to do and maybe you've had in dreams, but you are truly flying, then there's no more denying. There's so little doubt that even when doubt shows up, all that's happening is that it's an exciting puzzle that you're going to solve. All right. I'm demonstrating a couple of things there. First of all, I am telling you what the program of what I call the Ultimate Intuitive Expansion Program, my Astral Mastery Program is. These are the things that we are delivering. And I'm also demonstrating to you some NLP techniques. So let's talk about NLP, neuro linguistic programming. And I am relating it to, which was not covered in my training, not directly at least, our quantum mind, the quantum mind of the human being. That's what I qualify it as, that because if you say the quantum mind, you might think of only the universal mind, like you might think of God, but it's not that. But we're going to be looking from it from the human perspective, intending to connect that. So neuro-linguistic programming, going over some of the nuts and bolts of this particular workshop is teaching an overview of neuro-linguistic programming and a few techniques that we can use for ourselves. So beyond that typical teaching of NLP, I am intending to connect the concepts of metaphysical and mystical and spiritual technologies. And we are going to learn about the quantum mind of humans, as I said, and how NLP can support your full occupation and utilization of your quantum mind. That's the intention here. So let's go over some of the basics of what NLP is. It's neuro-linguistic programming is what this stands for, and it's a transformative approach to communication, personal development, and therapy. And it explores the relationships between how we think, neuro, how we communicate, linguistic, and our patterns of behavior and emotion, and that's actually the body, somatic experience. That's the programming aspect of it. So all of these, the three parts that we're talking about here are all ways that we create. And in fact, create. So when we think, we've created something, we've created a thought, and that goes into the quantum universe. When we speak, we've created even more, right? We have to, when we think something, then it becomes a word. We've added a whole many dimensions to it by creating speech, by firing it up, and by allowing it to actually be activated by our physical instrument. And then when we have behavior or emotion, both of these, they're both body experiences. Emotions happen in the body, behavior happens with the body. And this is the somatic experience, and it's also the state. So it behavior is the actions that we take. So obviously that has many more dimensions on it too. And the state is, again, from which we always create. The state of what might be emotion, but it's really just it's more than emotion, although emotion is key to enhancing a state. It is overall the way that you feel and the sense, the quality of the essence that you are carrying. And that's actually most fundamental. In order for us to have a thought, sometimes it seems like when we have a thought, then an emotion comes in. But in fact, the emotion at some other point created that thought in order for it to be able to come into form, or the state, I should say. And then in order for us to have language, in order for us to mean anything, if I just say the word, if someone, it's funny, I had a cat who, I used to say this one word in Spanish to him, and it wasn't the word itself. It was the force of my voice, but to someone on the outside, it looked like he didn't like that word. And I'll tell you what it is in case his name was Aramis, my cat, and I would say to him, "Tapado," which means it's a slang for kind of being like kind of dense dense in the head, and I go, "Tapado," and he would go, "Meow." It wasn't that he doesn't know the word tapado, because I wasn't even thinking the emotion of what tapado means, because I wouldn't say that to my kitty. I wouldn't call him dumb. But when I said it with this certain energy, he was just like, "Ugh, that's yucky." But the thing is, if I just say tapado and I don't even know what it means, it's a clanging symbol. It's just an utterance. So for language to actually have any true quality to it, it must have a state that qualifies it. For behavior, it's we are prompted to behave or take action, again, from the state. So state is fundamental to everything. And unfortunately, we are we're kind of trained to ignore our state as children, right? I know it's fun to do that. You need to stop doing that and go do something else. And that's the association that we make. And God bless the parents who are doing the best they can, because we do have to stop doing that and go do something else in order to survive. But in the simplicity of a child's mind, we are taught to ignore our state, and we are all still undoing that. So we need to pay attention to our state. We need to pay attention to our thoughts. We need to pay attention to our languaging, and we need to pay attention to our behaviors, our actions. That's what NLP is helping us with. All right. So it involves a strategic thinking. Sorry, I wanted to click that off. NLP involves a strategic thinking, behavioral flexibility, and a unique understanding of the cognitive aspects that affect human behavior and the very dynamics that play between the mind, neural, language, linguistic, and our body programming. I'm just kind of throwing all these words in there. So NLP encompasses multiple layers of human existence. And some of these layers include identity, our wisdom, the human experience, our mission, and our vision. Now, I want to talk, as we continue to sink into some of the content of NLP. We are all here metaphysical, spiritual explorers. So let me right away start to bring in the concept of the quantum mind, so that we can, as we're working with ourselves with these different techniques of NLP, we recognize that it's not just me. It is me connecting with the universe and impressing with my with my free will of my mind, my behavior, and my soma experience, my state, impressing onto the quantum greater mind, the collective mind, basically placing my order with the universe. So the quantum mind, this is just something that I coined. I'm sure I'm not the only person who uses this phrase, but I'm just saying it's not like this is in some other book that I got it from. Probably is in some other book, but I haven't learned it from there. So, as we proceed, I want us to consider the greater metaphysical impact of all of these NLP techniques and what they harness. And that is as we think, feel, behave, and speak, so we create in the universe. Everything counts. Everything, in a manner of speaking, all of these things matter. And actually, let's think about that for a second. We say, that doesn't matter. This matters. That doesn't matter. And this is actually something we do with NLP is we look at language and if it's a verb, then we make it a noun. If it's a noun, we make it a verb so that we can see how we're actually the organic language of it, what the true, sometimes hidden meaning of the way we're languaging, what is unconscious about it. So matter is actually a verb as well as a noun. Like this is matter, and we say that doesn't matter. It is a verb. So that means it creates matter. So your state matters. It creates things. We've heard the thoughts are things, or thoughts are how we manifest. We've heard that thoughts are things comes into this because it is a thing in the non-physical, not quite physical, but the mattering realms of the quantum mind. So all of these things matter. Your state matters, your behavior obviously matters, thinking matters, and language matters. Languaging matters. And how these all relate and correlate and how you are relating them, meaning you are utilizing them, matters, creates matter. The universe is a thought form reality. This is back to basics for many of you, but it bears repeating always, is that thought form means that thoughts are form and they are informing, they are coming into form. Form being matter, thoughts matter. And this whole universe is actually a thought form reality. This is why when we actually manifest something, whether it's what we consider good or bad, positive or negative, when we've manifested something that's a big thing, it's like taken a while and we're often it feels very, very normal to us. Well, we might still be grateful and have that excitement and have that action orientation, but it actually feels normal to us because of the thought forming experience we've already been through. So this is a thought form reality. Thank goodness. One of the things that we get frustrated by and feel and we complain about, whether out loud or inside, is the fact that it takes a lot of thought. It takes a lot of repetition of your state in order for things to manifest. It takes a lot of behavior repetition in order for things to manifest. Thank goodness, because we're not always conscious of what we are creating in the thought form reality with our thoughts. So there's there's a grace there is what I would say. And yet at the same time, that which has been sublimated, the thought patterns that seem things to spring up on us, it's because they've actually been rehearsed and practiced for so long. That's the unconscious thought forming that we've been doing. And that's what NLP helps us with. So everything that we do, we impress our will onto the hologram, both consciously and unconsciously. This is the process that we're in this class and all of the ones that we take together to be able to bring them conscious. And just to give us a little frame around us or a reminder that hologram, this word means the whole picture or the whole object. And so in our consideration, this is the field of form in process. It is informing is what we're talking about with the hologram. And I wanted to just mention this just as something to contemplate, to put into into our noodle. Morphogenic field. Now, morphogenic fields is actually is kind of a scientific theory, and some people are like, this is debunked, and some people are like, no, this is a thing. But it comes into a metaphysical contemplation as we're talking about thought form universe and these various dimensions, and that's what NLP does, is dimensionalize our thoughts, our language, and our soma. Morphogenic field, it's a hypothetical biological field that contains the information to shape the form of a living thing. So it sounds a little bit like aura, doesn't it? It sounds like the magnetism, but or maybe it's something that's actually biological, as in it's enzymic, or it's more smaller particular kinds of physicalized or biological substance. So this morphogenic field, this form of a living thing, and it may also shape its behavior and coordination with other beings, right? I'm just bringing this up because this, even science contemplates this. They're like, well, it must be physical, but and maybe it is that as well. But this is what we recognize, we sense it. Science may not have caught up to all of what mystics have been doing for thousands of years, but it is getting closer and closer. And that actually the link there is quantum physics. But anyway, so the term comes from the Greek word morphine, meaning form, and genesis, meaning coming into being. So in considering that this is a thought form universe, we have the morphogenic field. We have the field of things morphing into form. And that, from our perspective, from an individual perspective, is again our thoughts, our language, our behavior, and our state. And state is fundamental to all of it. State drives all of those things. All right. So here we go. Thought form, inform, the field of information is what we're talking about. Oh, I meant to say, what is NLP here? So that's fine. NLP is a stable of techniques that bring conscious thought, behavior, and conscious somatic state shifting in order to dimensionalize a masterful intention. Dimensionalize is one of those words. Dimension is a noun. When we dimensionalize something, we are filling it out as multidimensional. And I'll give us an example of that. All right. I have the thought that I want to have lunch after I finish here. You know what? I'm having the thought that I want to maybe go get a burrito. And as I remember, I recall, and I start to experience that it's delicious. There's a dimension that I've added to it. Ooh, I love when it has a little salsa on it. Oh, now I'm going to this place, my favorite place for it. And I love how the walls are painted a kind of turquoise. They have these stucco walls. And when you enter into the place, it smells so amazing. It always smells so great because the tortillas are being handmade, and they're the grill of the tortillas. You can smell that as they're putting them on the grill, and then they make their own salsa, and so the fresh cilantro is in the air too. And I actually love both a combination of fresh onion and the cooked onion that they're making. And I like the music that they play because they play a mix of traditional bando and ranchera music, but they're also playing modern Mexican pop, and I love that too. It's super fun. And that last time I was there, Shakira was on the radio, and I love that one song of hers. And then the tables are actually kind of fun. I really enjoy sitting and eating there because I like to sit by the window and the breeze is coming in and the sunshine is coming in, and I'm feeling so relaxed. So I took having lunch into this big, are y'all hungry? I'm hungry now. Into this dimensionalized experience, something as simple as having lunch, to something that had this multidimensional experience that elicited all these positive, nuanced states about it. And that's what NLP provides us specific techniques to do. Thinking about dimensionalizing whether and the way that we move through with NLP, what we do is we both create and we uncreate. And we dimensionalize something that we want to uncreate in order to break down its hold and its patterning that it has on us. All right. So, oh, this slide's a little bit off. There it is. Okay. Forgot to delete that one. So one of the things to consider in NLP is the VAK learning system. And this refers to the primary sensory modalities that people perceive and process information: visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. So think about, you have a preferred learning system, or they also call it representational system. You probably have one that's like your primary one. And at the same time, even though, let's say, you're very visual, we actually want to bring in the subdominant ones too, in order to really fill out that dimensionality. Because even if you're dominantly visual, you still have kinesthetic, you still have auditory, and then there's actually a fourth one that we're not gonna go over, which actually is kind of a combination of all of them, and it has to do with a certain kind of processing, but we'll just keep it real simple for this. So, you know, VAK stands for visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. So visual learner prefers to perceive and process information, images, pictures, and visual stimulus. Now, this is how you. This is whether you just so as a healer or as a counselor, and then also for yourself. When a person is more dominantly visual, they tend to say, "I see what you mean. That looks right. That yes, I can see that. What does that look like?" And the reason I bring this up as is an important foundation for utilizing NLP, but it's also how we might speak to ourselves if we want to either create or uncreate something. And then we have auditory, of course. That's through auditory stimulus, such as spoken word sounds, music, and you have a knack for processing information through listening and may easily remember information presented orally. And so we have, that sounds good to me. Oh, I hear what you're saying. Or I don't like the way that sounds. Those different ways that we might use organic language that is eliciting a state and bringing everything into a holistic experience for you. And then we have kinesthetic. These are people who process with physical sensations, movement, touch, and remembers information that way. And more hands-on experience, physical activities. And we may use phrases like, I feel like that's good. I feel like that resonates. Resonates is another one that might be a little more kinesthetic, although some people might actually visualize or um, auditorialize when they're thinking something resonates too. I need to get a handle on this. That doesn't feel right. Ooh, I like the way that feels. And even someone who might have a tendency, like those of you who have sacral authority, probably have a strong kinesthetic, experience because you go like, A little bit of that too might indicate the kinesthetic preferred modality. I mean, I think we all relate to all three. And also it can be a little confusing. Honestly, human design can help us with that too, because when we get into something called the PHS system of human design, it's a deeper layer there. It does talk about different ways that we process information, but this is just very general. Here's the thing. For me, I have an interesting connection with visual. It's actually very important to me. And yet I'm also it's other things are very important to me. So it's almost like we're also multidimensional. And one of the things I think that I thought for a while that I wasn't very visual because I was legally blind. So I had to put away something and I nurtured these other senses. You know what I mean? Anyway, that fourth one is called auditory digital. And it is one that actually utilizes those three equally. And then it also has this inferential. I think a lot of people that have a defined head and ajna may have a tendency toward auditory digital. But at any rate, if you relate to all three, I think it's important that you activate all three anyway. I'll tell you a feature of auditory digital are people that talk to themselves a lot, and they maybe even like you, and you walk up to them and everything's going to go, huh, 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 huh. That's what I've learned is a feature. That person also tends to lead with their head first because they're processing, and it's all, you know. So that's why I think it's a defined ajna, if not defined head and ajna. I'm going to go over. I'm going to go over a few techniques with a little more example. Then I'm going to kind of race through, I think, like 10 of the techniques just with definitions. And then we're going to go into a little bit more of an experience of us playing with sort of a combination of different things in NLP. Does that sound all right to you guys? But we're going to lay some foundation here. You'll get the hang of it. You're already doing some of it. When I took my NLP class, I was like, I'm already doing that. That's interesting. Oh, I already do that too. Oh, I didn't know that's what that was called. And actually hearing about it gave it a container that I could really, focus how that works. So one of the techniques is called anchoring. And so anchoring is creating a connection between a specific stimulus and a desired emotional state. And this will allow you to access that state at will. So one thing that we do in a more metaphysical sense is sometimes when I'm guiding you in a meditation or hypnotic journey, I'll tell you to create an anchor or a symbol. And that might be something that is just happening in the thoughtscape. But a physical anchor is, let's say, I then had you create, you have this state of ease and flow and flexibility and confidence about this thing that you are, moving through. And maybe you go ahead and create that metaphysical anchor or symbol. And maybe that is, maybe it's a diamond. And then you go like this too. Think about the diamond, think about the feel about the state, and then you touch these two fingers together. So now I'm creating a physical anchor as I really allow that state to expand within me. I'm really focusing on it. I'm also focusing on the diamond and I'm pinching these two fingers together. hmm And so then tomorrow I'm like, oh yeah, the diamond. And okay. And then that's going to call up that state for us. So, but an example in the mundane world is that traffic lights cause us to stop when we see red, to slow down when we see yellow. And then when we see green, then we go. And we tend to feel happy when we see green. Isn't green a positive? It's like, oh, if you wanted to make a positive health is associated with green, all this green. And is it like it's probably not an accident that they correlate to the chakra colors that we know about. Green is, yes, go. And then stop is like, stay grounded, stay here. And yellow is kind of like, ooh, let's pay attention. You know what I mean? Because that's the center of awareness here. Do I think that when they created the colors of the traffic signals that they knew about the chakra colors? Probably not. It's just more innate. You know what I mean? It's just like, of course, red would be the stop and green would be the go. This is also related to Pavlov's conditioning model. Pavlov's dog. He had a dog in a crate and he rang a bell and then he gave him food. And then the bell would just cause him to salivate. And then the sounds of his feet in the hallway would cause the dog to salivate. So, the conditioning or the associating. That's anchoring something into your either your psyche, but it tends to an NLP talk about anchoring it into the physical body to be able to trigger the soma and the thought, and then eventually the action and the language. So that's one that we can use. And I'll say, if you are a healer, if you're a counselor, if you're a coach or practitioner of any kind, when you get your client, when they get to a transformation, then you can have them create a physical anchor and have them just breathe into it and really enhance this state of transformation, keeping it in the body rather than up into the analytical mind, keeping it in this subconscious where the subconscious is supporting the processing in the conscious mind. Another anchor way to create an anchor is by touching these different parts of your hand. Now, someone might be wondering, does this relate to tapping? Not really. I mean, maybe somewhat, but EFT tapping is actually the principle of disrupting energy because you're touching certain meridians. So there are meridians that are flowing through us, and then we're disrupting thoughts. So in a way, it is relating to NLP in that we are interrupting thought and state by changing the flow of energy with the physical instrument of the body and the different pathways of energy flow in the body. So anchoring is actually taking a state, taking a preferred state, and having a way for you to easily access it later. A very important one is reframing. And we do this a lot, don't we? We actually were doing that before we even hit record. And Tiffany was sharing with us how she's reframing the different possible and probable outcomes of this new job adventure that she's on. She reframed the probable outcome of getting the job, and she reframed it, or she framed it in a positive way. And then she framed the not getting it in a positive way too. So really becoming a master of everything here. What you're doing here, and what Tiffany is doing with this reframe of the two possible and probable outcomes, is she's just letting her soma know that she just wants to be in a positive state. She wants to be in a positive and empowered state. This happens, I want to feel this way. This happens, I want to feel this way. I will feel this way. And then that comes up into thoughts that started to create some dimensionality around it. If thing A happens, these are the positive ways I'm going to fill it out. This will happen. This will be easier. This will provide more of this or that. And then if B happens, then this will happen. She created dimension to it. She was giving us the different scenarios of event one and event two, the outcomes. So she was creating positive thought with the dimensions formed around it and all through these frames. And then she spoke it out too. And then she's acting on it. And she's doing her due diligence to follow through with the thing A and the thing B that are important to her. And it all again comes down to, this is the state that I prefer. This is the state that I choose. That is the power of reframing, or even just framing a situation. But let's talk about it as a reframe. And this is where we would be, it's when we changing the way that an individual perceives a situation by offering a different perspective, often leading to a more positive interpretation. It has to do with our attitude. It has to do with us finding personal empowerment. So, an example that I told Spirit, give me an example. And so this was the example. The example is, we can often find what can be, or we would benefit by reframing, by something we might complain about, anything we might complain about. So this complaint is, I have an awful relationship with my boss. My boss doesn't respect me or take any of my suggestions. And then my current frame of this situation is, it's unfair, and I'm angry, bitter, and feeling disenfranchised. So that's an unfortunate situation because we're very disempowered. It's unfair. And I'm angry and I'm bitter and I'm not getting respect, you know? So a reframe of this, which spiritual practitioners and seekers, we get really good at, is my boss's inability to see my value. How is this helping me, is one way I start, is signaling that it's time for some kind of a change. So if I need to be recognized for my value, well, then maybe I can recognize my value. As I recognize my own value, then I will be able to model it. I will create that. I will be, you know, creating a field of magnetism around me about my value. And then from that, I will be able to see a correct opportunity for my value to be received. And I will be seen for that correct opportunity because of the value that I am, that I am. And so that opportunity for the presentation of a correct value is, it could be in this situation, my boss starts to recognize my value. It could be in another situation that's brand new, you know what I mean? But the most important thing is my needs are being met right now by my reframe, because my value is being recognized. And so there are some things that we can do if we recognize the thoughts that are going on here, because those thoughts that are going on here, that they're we let them bubble up into conscious awareness. And so that's why something, making it really easy on ourselves, saying like, what am I complaining about? What's my complaint? Because we know what our complaints are, and our complaints often have to do with how things are or how someone else is, and they're making us uncomfortable and disempowered. So if we start with a complaint, then that will start to pull from that the unconscious thoughts, you know? And that's how we'll know how to reframe it. So let's say we brought up our complaint, we know what our thought is, and then the ways that we can start to break that down, because sometimes when we're still in that state of, it's unfair, it's just not right. Okay, I'm not being recognized. My boss is this, that, and the other thing. We talked about the thought that I wrote out for us was, I have a terrible relationship with my boss. So one of these ways that we can start to play with language is, like, if someone said that to me, I have a terrible relationship with my boss. And I'll say, oh, okay, how are you doing the relationship with your boss? How do you do that? That's a problem. How do you do the problem of your relationship with your boss? This is a kind of way to start to break down. It's starting to disassemble this, the thought form of my boss and I have an awful relationship. Because if I ask you, how do you do that relationship? You're like, wait, I do my relationship? Yeah. How are you relating with your boss? Already we're starting to take it out of my boss needs to change. The situation needs to change. I'm relating. I have a relationship. Oh, so I guess I'm relating. Interesting. How am I doing the relationship? Oh, okay. So now we're looking at the programming. We're taking language to dismantle the soma and to bring awareness and bubble up to the surface the programming, which is the behavior. And so we also found in there that my boss doesn't value me, doesn't respect me, and doesn't value me, doesn't respect me. We just take my boss doesn't respect me. So then how am I respecting myself? So we're going to take respect as a noun. We're going to turn it into something more of a verb. And then we're also going to turn it into ourselves. How am I How am I doing the part of my relationship where I'm not being respected? How do I do that? What am I doing in the not receiving respect aspect of this? This is a way that reframe can be very powerful and very dynamic. And so then as we create that reframe after the boss's inability is signaling a change, how then we are going to enhance. So what does valuing look like? I want to ask you all here. I'm going to look at your faces. Can you relate to in any way not feeling valued? Can you think of something right now where you feel like I'm not being valued? Maybe you do it to yourself, maybe it feels like it's being done to you. Doesn't matter right now. If you want to call that up right now, but what you want is to have a sense of value. And so if you want to take a breath here, and in that scenario, how are you doing the feeling of being undervalued? How are you doing that? Let it just be a question. Don't be thinking about it. Just let it challenge you. Maybe there's not an answer. How am I doing that? And let it really come into you. How am I doing? I'm not being valued. Mm, okay. And then if being valuable is what you want, how are you valuating yourself? How are you creating valuation to yourself? You know, if you watch Shark Tank and they go, "What's your business's valuation?" What is your how are you doing your valuation in this? See, outside of a relationship, outside of the person or the thing or the whatever, or the world at large or society, you are having a state about your value. You see? Now, maybe that's because you feel like you're receiving someone's devaluation of you, but how are you doing your state of value right now? It's a place to start because if you are feeling undervalued, that's something you can deal with, right? I what is my outside of that relating right now? That's the best place to start. If we want to fix a relationship, how am I relating in it? That's the one thing I can do, right? I can change my how am I valuating myself in this moment? Because that's what it would be better to bring to the relationship. But yes, personal responsibility. Responsibility is your ability to respond. So if I am being undervalued, if that doesn't come into my state, I'm already in a much better position.
Yeah. I'm in a group that I've been a part of for 20 years.
Mhm,
It's a couples group, but the women get together more regularly, like once a month. We have dinner.
mhm.
And there are two doctors in the group. So very science minded people, and a lawyer in the group. And I I kind of feel like they laugh at me at what I do. I mean, not visibly, but I feel this slough off whenever I start to talk about anything that I do that's spiritually related. I just kind of stopped doing it a couple years ago because it was not working for me. Um, but that's still kind of there. And I don't, how would I get how to reframe it, but not really.
Right. Okay, so when you say they slough off, that means that what does that mean? What is it that what is occurring? What is slough off? Say more about slough off. I think I know what you mean. I just want to hear it in your
I mean,
words.
I feel like they don't even take it into account. They don't fully consider it. They just instantly they've prejudged me and decided I'm a flake or whatever, and it's not important or interesting to them, and so they don't even consider it.
Mhm. And when you experience their suggestion, "I'm a flake," what does that feel like?
Oh, it's awful. I hate it. It's minimizing and devaluing.
Devaluing and minimizing. So when you're in that scenario and you feel that you're minimized and you're devalued, how are you doing that? How does that feel inside of you? Are you accepting it? Do you wonder if there's something that you need to be different or change or shift about who you are in order to fit into that scenario?
Yeah,
Mm.
definitely. I mean, I've stopped talking about it because
Mhm.
I don't like the way that I feel when that happens, so I don't put myself into that position any longer to allow that, because I think I have fairly decent self-esteem, but in that moment I don't. It's hard to have that. It's I lose my own value because I'm seeing myself through their eyes.
So the way that you can do this relationship better is to anchor in more deeply to your value, your you said minimization, so that means you want to feel maximized, optimized, and that is true and correct for you. It is optimal, it is valuable. The way that you feel about outside of them is that my experience, my knowledge, my wisdom, my skills, all of these things that represent the state of what is being minimized when you're with them is for you to prop that up to where there is okay, I'm going to actually pin you. All right, so Lori, take a breath and allow your eyes to close. And I want you to drop down more into your body. And so, your spiritual experience, right? Your skills. Tell me a little bit more about the value of all of that. Just say a few words about it.
It's life altering, it's maximizing, it's connection, and it's the truth of who I am. It's my core, it's my entire being.
Yeah. All right. So, let's create a scenario which you can remember one because you have many scenarios with your life and also the people that you serve. Take one of those scenarios, take one of those optimized scenarios. So, one of those scenes, bring it up in front of you now, one that really represents that transformation, that truth, that core. And I want you to fill out the light, fill out the color, fill out the smiles, even imagine what it might smell like in the room, or the scene of whatever it is. Add some more color to it, add all of those colors to it. And just now come back to your soma, come back to your state and how amazing it feels. This truth. Oh, it's such a truth. If it's true, it could not be taken away from you. No one else's ignorance or anything. No, it's so much stronger. It's so wonderful. It's so true. Now, hold that state. And I want you to, as I showed you earlier, pinch your forefinger and thumb together. Hold that state. We're going to anchor it into, right? We're going to hold on to that. Now, move that other scene over because we're going to bring up another scene here. We're going to bring up the scene of being in that, let's say, is it you go to dinner? Is that what you do with this group of people? So you're all at dinner. And now bring up that scene. You're sitting at the table, but before we start any action, it's a frozen scene. You are holding that state, that truth. Pinch the fingers together. Truth, truth, truth. Transformation, maximized, amazing. Now, first of all, let's let it just spill out all over the whole room there. The light, the optimal truth that you bring, this state that you bring is actually able to shift this room. You know it because it's true, it's true, it's true. It's true because it's true because it's true. And that's the optimal truth about this scenario as you pinch your fingers together. And now let's turn the scene forward just a few beats. And there's talking. Maybe you said something and then freeze it. And Maybe someone did one of those things, one of those behaviors, or said one of those things, and yet you are still holding this state, this truth, this truth, this truth. And because we know who you are, your heart is even more open to them. You're sending more love to them, even though they've said something. It's not about you, though, is it? It's not about you. It's about them. It's about them. And you're still doing your truth in this scenario because you also know how energy works. And so you're loving them and, it's their business, what is happening with it, but you're maintaining it. You're maintaining it. And you aren't shrinking. Nope. You are expanding even more. And so now let's take the scene away from you. Let's take you out of the scene and just leave the spot at the table empty and bring them far away. Okay. And freeze the scene of them doing their thing. Now, I want you to shrink down the picture of all that thing that you don't like about it. Shrink it down. Put it over to one side of the screen. Now I want you to put it up and over on another side of the screen. Okay. Now take that picture and you shrunk it down. Now I want you to expand it. Like if you had a picture that was printed on plastic and you stretched it out, or if there was an image on a balloon and it stretches it out and becomes thinner and it's losing its qualities. Yeah. And now bring it back to, moderate size here. And I want you to make the whole thing, I'm going to let you choose either black and white or that sepia tone that's like the brown color, black and white or sepia. Okay. And now I want you to put a little valve at the bottom of the image. And I want you to open that valve and drain all of the color out of it. Yeah. And now I want you to just notice what you notice about it. But before you do anything else, I want you to come back to you and your state. Do the anchor, the truth, the truth, the truth. And now I want you to just send that away. You can send it into the light, that picture. You can send it down into the earth to be composted. Yeah. So when you're ready, just go ahead and open your eyes. So the next thing that I'm demonstrating a whole kind of process, an NLP process. I did a lot of things there, but now I'm going to say, Lori, hi. So, okay. So the thing that I just did there was breaking the state, because what that does now, it actually further anchors in what we just experienced. So now you could take to that scenario holding your state, right? Because they can't make you feel anything. That's the one thing that we are breaking, hopefully once and for all in our lives, although, so, and then we'll see, right? Because then we'll be present. We'll see how others, but you have your own language, your neurology of it and the thoughts. You have language that you can present. It'll show up in the moment. And you have your soma. You have your state. And then you also just have your truth, which is that's not what neurolinguistic programming necessarily talks about, but it's what we find is our own truth. So do you see now, because we went through that, how you could do your relationship part of it a little different? At least to your truth. Okay, good.
Yeah, that was really interesting. Very interesting. I'd want to spend a little more time on that. I can see how it would benefit, though.
Yeah. So we did some of the things where we added dimensionality to it, right? We first optimized the state that you prefer. That was one thing that we did. We optimized the state that you prefer to make sure that we made sure that we were certain what we wanted to create. We added dimension to it, just like how me having the burrito in the Mexican food place, you added all of that, and we started with the positive scene so that you could create the state, and then we put you into the one that has been the problem, so that you could be the solution to at least what you can be a solution to at this point from this place, is holding your state. Now, the other things that we did where we took that scene that we don't prefer, here's the thing, Lori, I want to tell you, when you were relating to the scenes, where was it? Was it here? Was it here? Was it here? Like the scene that you had in front of you?
You mean where in my body?
Like right now, if you were looking at it, where would it be? Was it higher or lower? When I was telling you to move things around,
Right. No, so initially it was just right here. But when I moved it, it went down here. And then when I expanded it, it was up here. And
Right.
then I sent it away from there.
And then the first one that we created that was the positive state, with the client or with, the transformation, where was that approximately, if you can imagine it in front of you?
Here,
Okay.
kind of in front of my gut,
Okay, great. So here's the
solar
thing,
plexus.
just to give us an idea of this. When we actually do, even if you don't relate to being visual, we just are. Our thoughts are out here. They're not really in here, they're out here. And they tend to be in front of us. When they're here, so this is something we can notice. When they're here, we fall into them. They pull us in. And that was good for the first one. I didn't tell you to do. I just wanted us to recognize it afterward. So then if I have something that I want to eliminate, I'm going to bring that scene up here because I'm not going to fall into it. But we did other things about it. We switched it around. But if I'm pulling up a scene that represents something that I don't want, then I want to try to bring it up here so that it doesn't pull me in, you know? And it gives me the capacity, like to change it a little bit more than if it were to pull me down into it. So the other thing that we were doing by changing the color, the shape and everything, that's called changing the submodalities. That's it's an NLP term, changing the submodalities. We are demonstrating our power over the thought. We are demonstrating our power over and from our understanding, our impact on the quantum field. So if I created this thought, I'm going to uncreate it. I'm going to change it. I'm going to shift it. It starts to lose its hold. It starts to lose its adherence, right? It starts to dismantle. And so that's something that we can do with the imagery. And then we also can do it with speech, which I'll talk to us about here in just a little bit too.
Well, and interestingly, another thing that happened is that I recognized in the process that it was really one person in the group,
Good.
and I didn't have awareness that I've had that focus on that one person. And when you suggested that I see that experience, I saw her eyes roll.
Mm.
And so when I moved her up here, I caught her in the middle of her roll. So her eyes got stuck and she looked stupid and silly. And then I expanded that and it was like, yeah, you're not as much as you think you are. It's just give me that moment to like let that go because I mean she's an internationally recognized speaker on cancer and she's an amazing person. She's intimidating at best. I mean, she's amazing. But in that moment, I was able to just sort of be like, whatever. She's just
Oh,
a person.
yes. And that's one of the great. So thank you for that. Everyone remember that Lori caught her in a mid-eye roll and she looked dumb. And that was perfect. It's a great part of it. Not because we're making fun of a person, but it's again disempowering that, well, in this case, you've seen an eye roll. It disempowered it because it's like, you know, and that's something else we do when we're breaking down a certain language, like an inner script that is negative for us. And I'll talk about that too here in just a bit. So thank you for that. So that you feel good? Yeah.
Way better. Thank you. Wasn't expecting that today. Bonus.
Oh, thank you. Well, I was hoping someone would be able to volunteer. So you did it. So thank you so much. Wasn't that awesome? Lori, are you still here? Lori, do you want to come talk about that and how you feel watching it again? It's okay if you don't, if you didn't plan to come on. Um, yeah. I'm going to invite you to stage, anyone who wants to come on. And so Lori is invited now too. And really great. And you can see how you can do this kind of work for yourself too. In that demonstration, I did layer a lot of different things in there, as I said. Hi.
Hi.
Did you know that you were going to be the star of the show today?
Obviously not. That was hilarious. And it was funny because I looked away just at the moment, I guess, that you added me to the screen. in the lesson, and I was turned my head and I was like, oh my God, what am I doing up there?
What am I doing? How did I get there? You're like, I astral projected. I didn't even I'm
If only.
bilocating.
Yeah, I remember that.
Mhm.
I do remember that.
Any follow-up? Like, have you been on those dinners? Did things change? I never asked you about
Yeah.
how it went after.
Yeah, no, it's so much better. I
Mm,
don't, I forgot about it.
good.
So
You
I didn't remember that that was how I came to disempowering her, the eye
mhm,
roll thing.
mhm.
I blanked that out, um, but I don't, she doesn't hold that power for me anymore.
I love it. It's so great.
So it worked.
And
With
when you go to the dinner, it's not just her like, you just don't think about that then, that feeling that you
right.
came in with that demo, that's so great. I love that.
I was trying to think about most of the lesson prior to me being on it. I did NLP. So Steve and I got engaged, and I got about 3 months into the planning of the wedding, and I broke up with him.
Mm. Oh,
And
really? After
yeah,
oh
like
gosh.
we got married a full year later than originally
Okay.
originally planned. And so I I did not know what I wanted. I could not figure out if this was right for me.
Mm.
And I went to an NLP therapist on somebody else's suggestion. And I was trying to think through, like, how did I come to decide to marry him through NLP? Like, I don't really
Mm.
remember that process at all.
Mhm.
I just remember that the therapist was so benign and ineffective as I think back about him. But I married my husband. So at some point I made a decision, and I don't know that NLP was what got me there,
Yeah.
but it happened.
Oh, that's interesting. So you
We
don't
just celebrated our 37th anniversary. So it was a very long time ago, and I really don't remember that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's great. That's really cool. Too bad I mean, also you have such a different awareness now, besides it being a long time ago, like,
Right.
the going back and watching movies or reading books from even 10 years ago, you're like, "Whoa."
Yeah. I mean, he even said on our anniversary, like, you are not the woman I married. You are a completely new version of her in every way.
Isn't that amazing? I just had a client last week who, she's in her 60s, and one of the w and she and her husband have been together since they were, like, in school, like, grade school or I don't know, high school or grade school, I don't remember.
Mm,
But one of their childhood friends, then they've remained friends with, passed away. And so, actually, he came through mediumistically. He came and, he was just talking about how amazing it is, what a soul contract to choose to walk side by side throughout I mean, like, a lifetime as friends. It's ex you know what I mean? Like, we just chose each other. I mean, of course, that's what we're doing in marriages too, but you got kids and you got marriage and you got property and stuff, but then just as friends, like, to have a lifelong friendship is really amazing. And that's what we have to create in our marriage. It's like there's something else. Like with a marriage, it's like, well, we have all these other things that are like pulling us together. We have to create friendship. We have to choose to create friendship and
right,
witness one another. But we do change so much.
right.
Change so
And
much.
that's we talked a lot about that this past weekend because our kids are not just gone, but they're out of town,
Mm,
and that's
mhm.
new for us.
Yeah.
And we really came to realize how our friendship is what keeps us going. I
Yeah.
mean, of course, we have love for each other, but we're
Mhm.
not very great at expressing that. But we're really good as friends. So,
That's love. Hey.
it comes as it comes, and
Yeah.
occasions bring that out sometimes,
Mhm.
but it's the friendship that's the core of everything, I think,
Yeah.
in that kind of in a marriage.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Wow, really cool. Well, you look great. I can't believe you were sick just 2 days ago.
So I'm having I have had IBS off and on throughout my life.
Okay.
I don't know if
Mhm.
it's something that actually goes away, but it was under control for a solid 20 years.
Oh, good.
And it and so now I have something new,
Mm,
that I've never had before, and I don't understand it, but I believe that they've decided it's either SIBO
mm,
or bile acid diarrhea. That's what it's called.
mm.
Bad. BAD. It is. And it literally like wakes me
Oh,
up
yeah.
at 6:30 in the morning, and I don't rise before 8:30, and the cramping will go
Hurts. Yeah.
all the way 10, 12 hours of just like, and when you have a cramp, it like releases and it never releases. It's just like
Mm,
and it never lets go.
mm.
And so I had Monday, I couldn't get out of bed. I
Yeah.
couldn't function. And then Tuesday, I had to function, but it was still kind of there off and on. And I just kind of worked around and made myself through. And it woke me up this morning and I was like, fuck you. Get out of my life. I have big shit to do today.
So to speak.
It went away. I don't know if
I
that had
love it.
anything to do with it, but I
Yeah.
had, and I have something to ask you about when
Okay.
we're done with this related to my big day.
Mhm.
But there are other days that I've said that to it and it didn't go away. So
Mhm.
it's more days on than off. And that's frustrating. And I have to wait 3 weeks for this medication to come from India
Oh my
to
gosh.
see if, yeah, I mean,
Mm,
there were two options and I'm already on option two because we're waiting so long. Option one, it turns out, well, it was $3,000 for the
mm.
medication, almost 900 with insurance, but still,
Wow.
I'm not spending that kind of money. And it was a pharmacy in Israel, so I couldn't get through to them
Oh,
for a week because of the war.
right.
And then I finally did, and I got it resolved. And then they said, "Oh, but it's going to come from India, and it'll take 3 weeks to get to you." Like,
Oh my gosh.
okay, so
Oh,
I've got a couple weeks of suffering until that, and I've already, altered my. I'm eating like two things. My diet is absurd.
yeah.
It's so minimal, but I don't care that I'm
Mm.
not enjoying or appreciating food right now because I don't want to hurt.
Oh,
And I
God,
won't
no.
eat anything that might cause pain. So I'm willing to forego pleasure in that regard for a while.
Of course. I mean, it's the pain. I've had that pain, many times. I got gluten toxicity. I call it gluten poisoning. You know what I mean? Brian, it wasn't as bad as well, so Brian got a gluten-free pizza and we get it from this place, but they must have like plopped it in a big pat of dough of flour or something because I woke up with that. It woke me up in the night. Yeah, it's so bad. I
Yeah,
mean, like you can't breathe. It's like,
right.
I mean, I haven't had children, but I'm like, I breathe like I'm in labor. I go
Right.
because
Yes.
you don't know how to
Right.
take up
And
space.
I've just had 3 years of horrific leg pain and foot
Mhm.
pain and ankle, all that. And none of that, it was anything at all like this.
Yeah.
Because I could still function.
Yeah,
This,
yeah,
I cannot function at all. I'm out. It
yeah.
takes me
Ugh,
away.
I hope
Hi,
this
Courtney.
medicine hope this medicine
I hope it works.
resets it. Yeah, yeah. Uh,
It's some kind of powerful antibiotic.
okay, if it's and that will help both of those potential conditions? I know it would help SIBO,
Right. Well,
right?
see, I
Okay,
had my gallbladder removed, and
okay.
so I'm under the belief that it's that. So bile acid diarrhea can be caused by not having
'Cause of the
a
bile, I see,
gallbladder.
yeah, yeah.
And, SIBO is a bacterial infection in the small intestine.
Oh, it's bacterial, so oh, wait, yeah,
Right.
it's an
Either way, right,
antibiotic, yeah, mhm,
right.
right.
Enough about that.
Okay. Well, you said you wanted to ask me something or
I do, I
okay.
do.
You wanna
Uh,
wait till we're on our own, is that what you mean?
no, no,
Oh,
I
okay.
just, didn't know if you wanted to talk more about your lesson before we moved on to it's
I don't
not
think we have
related to that.
I don't think we have quite enough time, but, well, but yeah, I have, like 2 more lessons prepared, but, I'm just that's okay. They're just ready to go for next time. So yeah.
Okay.
Actually, there's a part 2 NLP. I'm gonna just put it in the student portal, and it's 30 minutes. It's the rest of that class. I highly recommend that you do. Hi, Sydney. I highly recommend that you do watch it, listen to it, because it's
Okay.
just like this, packed full of so much. Even though I taught that lesson, I was like, yes, that's right. Like I was learning, relearning again, remembering
Well,
that I know how to do things.
Courtney, maybe you want to talk before I do again.
I've talked so much today. I think you're good. I'm in
Oh,
public speaking and I had to do a
Oh,
speech, but
oh, nice, good.
it's
how'd it
yeah.
go?
It went all right. I just got in that class and he gave us impromptu things. So I had like a whole list of things to choose from. And my mind went completely blank except for when I lost Sydney.
Mm,
And so that's what I spoke about.
mm. Wow,
And
powerful. That's
so
great. That's powerful. Remember to anchor. This is a good
I needed
good
to. I
practice.
should have.
Ground
And
yourself.
I didn't follow it up with like an ending. Like I got
Mm.
up there, basically told my story. And so he was like, well, what were you wanting the audience to know? And I was like, that
That I wanna stop
the
this
hard
speech right now?
yeah, that the hardest things in life are the things that we learn and grow the most from. And so,
Oh, yeah.
but it took me everything I had just to keep talking. So I love you too.
Oh.
Bye. Bye. Okay.
Is that what I look like with Aliel?
Probably. Probably. So.
That's great. Well, congratulations. It
Well,
sounds
thank
like
you.
you gave a vulnerable story speech. I'm sure
Mhm.
really, even though you didn't give it the button because, you're in class, you're learning to do that. I'm sure it
Yeah,
was felt anyway.
definitely.
Good.
And it was really, everybody seemed to like it. And of
Yeah.
course, they wanted to ask questions and all of that. And I'm like, I got
Nice.
her back after 4.5 months. I'm doing great. So, yeah. Yeah, go ahead,
Um,
Lori. Tell what you were going to.
Okay, so I have a client who um, has a lot of loss in her history
mm,
and has not fully grieved most of them. Uh, she's around my age, a little bit older maybe. And so that includes her husband who died of ALS
mm.
and her father and all her grandparents and two therapists, one that she had for 30 years
Oh my gosh.
and a dog and, and other like significant friendships. She was conditioned to um, not cry and to succeed in life, you must be male. After her husband died, she became a lesbian.
Mm,
Um, and I don't know if that's related or if that even matters, but I find it interesting.
right.
Um, and so as we started working on other things, I kept finding that the grief was getting in the way, or the fact that she hadn't grieved was
Right.
getting in the way. So over a period of time, we built up to something we did today, which was a funeral, which is why I
Mm.
have a black cover on my table behind me. I
Mhm.
created a pulpit essentially, and we have something in our religion called Shiva,
Mhm.
which is a 7-day period where you um, begin your grieving period and others come to you and help you, and you're not supposed to do anything at all, and then 30 days and then a year and then 11 months. So I decided to help her recreate that. She's Jewish also,
Yeah.
and since all the times that all those other people died, she um, took care of everybody else, and she never really focused on her own grief. So we did a whole ceremony. Like I had her write a eulogy for every person. And
Mm.
I said, as if they're not, as if there's no audience, right? Because when you write a eulogy for an actual funeral, you make it nice. You don't want to say the negative thing. So I was like, but it's just you and me, be honest, but talk about the values you learn from them, the positives, be sure to include those things.
Mm-hmm.
And I got the candle and the flowers. I sang a traditional song that's always included in a funeral for Jewish people. And as soon as we started, as soon as I sat down, I realized, oh, they're here.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked to my guide and I was like, who's here? And her husband and her dad were here. And so I felt them on either side of the back of my head. I didn't know for sure if there were more. I didn't know exactly who it was. And twice during her eulogy, I just instinctively asked a question. Like, she said something about her husband that I thought, I'll bet that's not true. And I said, is that true? And he was like, no. And I was like, oh, wait, I had told her right from the get-go, they are going to be here. I don't know who will be, but just know they're here for your support. But also I want you to understand, we're not going to communicate with them. I'm not okay enough to do that. Personally, because I'll cry, and I've already done that in a non-professional situation. It happens every time. So I didn't want to do that with a client. So I was trying to maintain some boundaries with them. And okay, so I told you I woke up too early this morning because of that pain.
Yeah.
But I generally never get sleepy in the middle of anything like that. She's going through the eulogy and I could not keep my eyes open. I was falling asleep and it wasn't normal sleep. And this is how grief has been presenting itself to me since my mom passed, is as, oh God, I've got to go take a nap right now. That's how it feels right now. I've got to go to sleep. I am exhausted. Oh my God. Just like, but of course I couldn't do that. And I didn't really understand right away what it was. And then after 15 minutes, I was like, oh, it must be grief. So then she leaves and I tapped in, to chat with my guide about the session and all, and who was here and what was going on. And they said it was your grief, but then they said it was the grief of the ancestors, the family members that I was experiencing, not my own. But because I'm grieving, I was more open to receiving their grief. And also, I think they were under the impression that I was going to channel for them because they position themselves within.
Yeah.
Which usually I don't feel that unless I'm in a channel, and then I notice it. And I guess I told her I wasn't going to do it. Maybe they didn't believe me, or, maybe they just violated the boundary because they didn't care.
And it's like a habit. It's a longstanding habit.
Right.
So even though you told her that, I guess if you, in this time right now, if I might, I don't want to interrupt you, but you might
I'm ready. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So you might, like you told her, but you still have, you have an energy habit. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to have to meditate. Maybe before you meditate on it and you say, I am going to do this. I will do this. You can come through and stand behind her. I will, you know what I mean? Like, you might need, and you have to like feel and set your energy very intentionally, because you have years and years now of a other kind of energy pattern that is running. So as I've taught you guys about suggestibility, that is how your suggestibility runs, because you have trained it to be open to spirits coming in mediumistically and channeling them sometimes. So even though you said it once, like saying it once, and you're going to have to really like define it. Yeah. You're going to have to really be really firm with it. That's why people, their, mediumship opens up and they think they can't control it. It's because of how their suggestibility runs. And suggestibility is largely unconscious to us. And another way to say that, it's automated. It's automated. And so you have automated your energy to run a certain way. So you're going to have to like get really intentional and very conscious about it as you enter into the session. And then next time too, You could also, like, if you feel them there, then you just have to go, you know, "I'm not doing that, you need to go stand over there." You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, you'll also have to, like, because it's yeah, you just have a habit, you have an energy habit. So, they didn't really violate the boundary, I don't think. I don't know if that's as much as that if that is as helpful a way to frame it as your energy runs a certain way habitually. And so if you wanna you wanna counter that habit for this certain amount of time, you're gonna have to, like, really, really do it, right?
Right. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I did say to them afterwards, oops, sorry, that I intended to allow them to have a conversation with her
Okay.
in due time.
Okay, yeah.
But I imagine that to be many months from now,
Mhm.
because I don't think that's going to be helpful to her during the grieving process,
Mhm.
maybe towards the end of it. And maybe she'll have some questions for them. I don't know that she will at all, or if she'll even want to participate. And I'm certainly not going to push that on her.
Yeah.
That's not the point of
Mhm.
this, but I offered it to her as an option when the time is appropriate.
Mhm.
But we're just trying to get her to feel something.
Yeah. Yeah. Was that's mainly it? You wanted to know, like, what was going on there? How
Yeah.
come they showed up when they
Well,
yeah.
like, they don't generally just come right in. Certainly when I'm with an angel or an archangel and I want to channel, I don't feel them until I invite them
Mm, mhm.
in. Like, I'll have a conversation with them and then I'll say, "Okay, I'm ready. Would you like to come in and would you please?" So I don't know if you remember this. I used to get injured
Mm,
here and here, and I would lose my voice for days, or I got a sinus infection or a pain in
mm,
my ears. So now I have to ask them to stay up here, like above my eyebrows. So I usually feel them right here, and I know they're there. I've never felt them in the back like that, and I wasn't sure if that was them or what I was feeling. And I was so focused on what was happening in the room, I didn't stop to think, oh, I need to get them out, because
mm.
I didn't actually recognize that they were in, but I
Yeah,
believe they were. And I
yeah.
think they were just residing back there and using my energy, or I don't know, just
Well, then maybe if that was different too, then maybe it is because you had partially shut it down. You know what I mean? Because you did say it and you intended it, but there's still so much habit there. That's why it was different. It was like it was a half
right.
thing
And
that
then
was
I
going
talked
on.
to them. So, like, I broke my own rule.
Yeah. They're like, "She's game." Yeah.
Oh, what am I doing? Wait, no, I
Well,
don't
and
need
you
to
did
do
that because it was a habit. Like,
right.
you know what I mean? Like, it's a habit of spirits. Is that spirits here? I'm gonna talk to him. So, yeah, that you have to get real clear on it if you wanna shut it down for a certain period of time. And, there was something else. What was it that you guys had said? Well, I don't know, it's gone. Maybe we covered it in energy at least. Yeah. Um, oh, I know. Okay, thank you. Also that, um you were see the exhaustion, the ti the tired that came over, that actually makes you more suggestible too. You start to literally fall asleep and you're much more open and suggestible, you're vulnerable.
True.
So, any kind of boundary or half boundary that you had set probably seemed to have, like, floated away because you were operating under the influence of being really sleepy, which is, again, an energy habit that is associated with grief, you know?
Right.
So, yeah. Yeah. I mean, because the thing is, as an intuitive, as a healer, you're processing with your client their thing. So if you're processing her grief with her, then it's gonna kick up your grief, as we've said, yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
had a
came back in and sat down and just cried
yeah,
and
yeah.
let it out. I was like, well, I don't know if it's hers or mine, but I'm going to let it out. So,
Same, right? Same thing. Yesterday, I had a session, this woman that I've been working with since 2017, and, she has cats, and I've been working with her, uh, with her cats for 7 years, and one of her kitties died, and she was, also 14 like Barnabas, and, yeah, we cried a lot. It was a long session, we were crying a lot. I was in her kitty just passed, it was like 5 weeks ago, so
oh,
we were doing a and I was, both her cat and Barnabas were coming through and giving us all this amazing healing and everything, but I was so exhausted afterward. I
I'll
was like,
bet.
I had all these plans to work some more the rest of the day, but no, I was
Yeah.
exhausted. And it was a beautiful session, you know what I mean? It wasn't sometimes I get exhausted from a session because I have to work so hard because the client is so they have so much to transmute, but this was different because it was working on mine too, you know?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah,
Thank you.
grief is exhausting, apparently.
It is. I mean, when mom first passed, I took 3-hour naps every single day for at least the first 2 months.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so and then just know that you can if you shut it down for a period of time, and then you just make sure that you intentionally open up, and it'll be easy to click back into it when you intentionally open it
Yeah.
back up after you want.
Well, and I don't mind doing it in, Sacred Sphere and in my own
Yeah,
personal group like that,
yeah,
because I don't want to lose the habit
of course. Yeah,
or
well,
the
I don't
ability.
yeah,
I just don't want to do it with a client yet because
yeah,
I don't want to break down with
totally.
a
Yeah,
client.
yeah. I told you guys how it was 11 days after Barnabas passed, and I did my first session, and it was one of my regular clients. I see her 2 or 3 times a month, and it's, um, I thought I was perfectly ready for it, but then she was showing me like, "Oh, I got all these different things, for my altar," and she's like, "Oh, I got this thing, and it's a really pretty thing, and then I got this, and I got this." And I named him Luna, and it was a little black cat. And it was a him who she
Oh,
named Luna, which is, like, more feminine, but she's like, "I named him Luna," and it was a black cat, and my eyes, like, started on their own, like, and I was like,
no.
"Oh, no, oh, no," and I was like,
Uh-oh.
"Oh, wow, that's really pretty," and took a sip of water and everything, and then she looked at me, but my eyes and skin color, it turns I can't hide anything, and she was like,
No.
Are you okay?" And I was like, "Oh," and I told her, I was like, My kitty passed, he was black just 11 days ago, and, I'm so sorry." And she was like, "Oh my god, I'm like, no, let's just move on, let's just move on, let's pretend like it didn't happen." And she goes, "Okay, okay." And we snapped back in. She's also like she's a healer and a hypnotherapist and a
Okay.
medium, so she's like, "Okay, yep, yep, okay. Yeah, so then next," and like she just I felt but I really felt like, "Oh my gosh," I had to have my client take care of me for a second, but
Yeah.
we made it through, it was alright, but yeah, it was a little too soon, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, especially if she's gonna bring a big black kitty in the session.
Right?
I was
You don't
almost
know.
through.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but yeah, it's, you just you need to be further along the path before you do some of that. Yeah. I mean, it's really amazing that you held a funeral for her.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah, I
the strength
prayed a lot about it. I did a lot of intention setting. I did an invocation out loud with her
Mhm.
when we started about all the things. I covered all the bases and I kind of prepared for it yesterday with my guides, like all the things I need to say. And
Mhm.
um, what I want to do is print out her eulogies, in a few months and let her burn those.
Mm.
Since we're not doing any kind of an actual burial or anything like that. But, just some rituals. And
Mhm.
I told her to make a collage of all the people that she's doing and put all their faces together in one collage so she can uh, have that to sort of instigate a daily routine of remembering them so that she
Mm.
can affect the grief
Yeah,
and bring it to the surface.
that's beautiful.
We had to jump start it a little bit.
Yeah. And does she at least consciously understand the importance of feeling and of grief?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, good. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's when they won't even, like, choose to begin to believe it, in something, and you're like,
Right.
"Well, this is what you need." I mean
Yeah. No, no, we've been talking about it for a while now. And actually, the first thing we did was I had her watch a couple of movies and just to see if she could cry. And she said she watched this one 3 times. And on the third time, she cried.
Oh, good.
And I don't know if she actually did. Like today, afterwards, she said, "Oh, I'm tearing up." And I was like, where? Your eyes aren't tearing, but I think it's an expression. she just says that because there were no tears in her eyes. She certainly never reached for a tissue. I think she's just been conditioned to
Yeah.
say something like that. So, and I don't care if she actually cries.
Yeah.
The point is just to feel it. And if she was able to locate the pain in her leg, she was able to associate that pain with something that's been going on with her for a long time. And we talked about how, you talked about Louise Hay the other day, and I keep that book right here. I use it all the time.
Yeah.
And so I talked about that's about moving forward in your life. And if that's where the pain is and it's holding you back, then hello, the grief is what you need to release from your leg so you can move forward with your life. And so click, that really tapped in for her. And I think she really got it.
Wow, that's great. That's great work. When you said that she just says, "I'm tearing up," and she's not actually, it reminded me of an episode of Seinfeld where Jerry was dating a woman who never laughed. And he's like, "I'm a comedian, how can I do that?" And he would say something really funny, and she'd go, "That's funny."
Yeah, I remember that. Yes, I'm
And
laughing.
he's like, "I'm glad you enjoyed it."
Wow. Well, thanks, Tricia. I appreciate
Of
the
course.
support and
Yeah.
guiding me through that.
Yeah, of course. I wanna share one other thing that's just coming to mind about, managing your abilities, mastering them, controlling them, whatever it is. And my best friend from high school, did I just tell you guys this story, or I think I told someone else this story. Told someone else this story. My best friend, I think I told a client this story. My best friend from high school, we both had a spiritual awakening at the same time. Like, we had these abilities come online at the same time. And, I was taking classes and stuff, and she was just kinda like, messing around with them on her own. And so she, ended up having a really bad experience because she basically invited an earthbound in, and who knows if he was even an earthbound, could have been some other kind of trickster, and
Oh.
she was like, "What's going on? What do you need? And what do you wanna tell me? Is there anything else you wanna tell me?" And he was giving her evidential stuff, so that really excited her, and I was telling her, 'cause I'd already learned that, I was like, "Hey, listen, you don't wanna be, just tell him he has to go to the light, like, you don't wanna be, that's not helpful and everything." And, and it wasn't, like, helping him either. Like, she was just, like, really excited because he told her about some accident and how it happened, or his accident, and then she hadn't read it, and then she found it in the paper, you know what I mean? Like,
Oh.
could have been any kind of a trickster anyway. So then in the night, one night, she was going to sleep, and she felt his hands on her and, like, kind of pulling her out of the bed or something. And so she, like, told him, "Get out of here," whatever, and shut down her abilities. And this is like 12 years ago, shut them down entirely. And so anyway, this was a year ago. We were when we were at our friend's dad's funeral, actually, or celebration of life, chatting with somebody. And he was like, well, asking what we do, we could do in the getting. And she's like, "Oh, well, she's and she wanted to tell all of the things that I do. And he was like, "Oh, that's so cool." And I was like, "Yeah, but have a lot, you have really powerful abilities. You have mediumistic abilities." And she said, "This is the thing, the reason I'm telling you this story." She goes, "Well, I can't control them, so I shut them down." And I
You
said,
did tell that part of the story. Yes,
"Shutting
because
them down is controlling them."
it's controlling them, exactly. That's part of my story too. I told my teacher, she said, "You have that." And I was like, "No, I got rid of that a long time ago because it scared me."
Mhm,
And
yeah.
she said, "But you didn't get rid of it. It's
Aren't using it.
dormant.
Yeah.
You
Mhm.
ignored it, you turned it off, but it's still there. You can't
Yeah.
make it go away. It's a gift."
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's like, I got rid of my left arm." No, you didn't. Maybe has atrophy and you don't use it very much, but,
Yeah,
Yep. Yeah.
that's amazing.
And that's such a good point. Like, that's why it's so amazing to people when they open their abilities later in life, like it was for me. And I was like, "Are you serious? Like, that just works? Like, why?" Because also you hear things about other people where it happens to them.
Right.
And it turns out, no, you just can do that if you want to, but you don't have to if you don't want to. But we can calibrate it through all the shades of it too. So that, I think the point of this conversation is just to remember that if something happened in a way that we didn't really want it to, then we didn't really run our energy that way. and that's a good thing. You know what I mean? Like that means that's empowering. It's not for us to blame or shame ourselves about it. It's like, oh, okay. I didn't quite make my statement in through my energy. You know, just think about if you tell a little kid something, if there's a new habit and you tell them once, are they going to remember to do it that way? No, because they're all subconscious. They're all just,
Right.
you know, if you've been doing something the same for, I know like when little kids, when the time changes and then mom doesn't come to pick you up until after dark and they think they've been abandoned, even though you told them, I'm going to come after dark. Like, it's really hard for them to grasp it.
Yeah, it's true.
That's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with our automated energy. So we have to like be really intentional, really conscious about it if we want to make some changes.
Yeah, that's a good lesson for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all of us. Yeah, it's a good reminder. Well, we're way past time. Okay. Anything else from either one of you or anyone else who's here? I don't think anyone else is here because Jamie left and Kate was driving and yeah.
Oh.
Anything else?
No, thank you.
Yeah.
It was great.
Thank you guys.
One thing, and just
What's that? Yeah.
I'll make it quick. So, when we were watching the video that you were playing, it made me think of it, and I don't even remember what was said. But so a few weeks ago at school, this guy that I've been friends with for years and always hug when I see him, all of a sudden he's telling me that I'm beautiful, and then he starts trailing his hand down my butt.
No.
And me and my conditioning and wounding, I'm like, well, I have to go in there and say hi to him. Otherwise, he's going to think something's up and then it's going to make him uncomfortable. God forbid I be.
Yeah, that's your problem.
So I went in there. It happened 4 or 5 times. I was going in there with my computer bag over my butt. This is so ridiculous. So ridiculous. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, why am I being uncomfortable to not make this guy that's violating my space uncomfortable? And so I stopped talking to him and wouldn't even look in his direction and all the things. I went into his office today. Well, I asked him, I saw him in the hallway and I almost kept going. And I'm like, nope, today's the day. And so I said, do you have a second? And so I went in there and I said, I need you to not act like this didn't happen. And I need you to not act like you don't know what I'm talking about. And he was like, okay. And I said, I thought we were really good friends. I valued our friendship, but hugging me and rubbing your hand across my butt is not okay. And he's like, I understand. And I felt like it wasn't even coming from me, the way that it was worded.
I love it.
And I was like, it's not okay. If you're doing this to other people, absolutely not okay. Like, I was so uncomfortable that I was coming in here with a computer bag over my butt. Like, what?
Is he an instructor?
He's not an instructor, but he's the safety guy.
Oh,
he works there. Yes,
shit.
He works there. So he's got like all the cameras in his office and all of the things.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. And so I was
and he made you unsafe. Like that's exactly the opposite of his job.
And so I was just like, first of all, how would your wife feel if she found out about this? And he was like, well, she wouldn't be very happy. And I said, he kept saying, I understand. I said several things. Thank you. I said several things. And I was like, so do you acknowledge that you did this to me? And he said, yes, I do. And I'm really sorry. And I said, whatever gave you the idea that I wanted anything like this? And he was like, you didn't. And
wow.
I can't believe he admitted to it. Like, but I went in there and was like, I need you to not act like this, like,
yes.
Yeah,
good job. Good job.
Like,
wow.
What a hero.
I couldn't believe it. I was just like, oh, speaking my truth. My inner child was like ecstatic, like celebrating, like, oh my gosh, we're speaking our truth. Like it was
empowered.
So chill.
Yeah. And then I went and gave that speech.
Wow. Oh my gosh. I'm proud of you. I'm inspired by you. That's wonderful. And you know what? You took care of a lot of other people in that. I mean, hopefully, unless he's an absolute predator, doesn't seem like he probably, I don't know, probably isn't because he admitted it.
He admitted
didn't deny it. And,
Mm-hmm.
you gave him, you gave him the feedback that he needed. Yeah. Wow.
It was
That's
funny because
great.
in my
Correct
psych
him.
class, we were literally like, when this was happening, we were learning about frauderism and like, those people that like run into you somewhere and touch you and then act like, oh, sorry, like, or don't realize that it happened. And I'm like, this is him. It's like, this
Yeah.
is him. So I don't know if he's done it to somebody else, but the fact that he admitted it to me and was like apologetic and like knew
Well,
that
he
he was
doesn't want to be humiliated like that again, you know?
no, because I was like, because I was like, do I go to HR about this? Like, if he would have been like, that never happened, I don't know what you're talking about, I would have went straight to HR.
Yeah, right.
But I feel like since he did like admit to it, like he did take some accountability, like I don't know that I'm going to do that. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to handle it, the rest of the situation, but I was
I don't know. Yeah,
pretty excited that like he actually, and maybe it was the way that I went in there and said, look, I need you to not act like this didn't,
Yeah.
like, yeah, it was.
You set it down. You laid it down. I mean, I don't know. I don't know either, unless you want to say, I'm going to have one. This is the last conversation we're going to have about this. Does this happen to other people?
He said that
Or
it
do I
doesn't.
need to go to HR? Oh, he did say it.
He
Okay.
did, because I asked him. I was in there for, I don't know how, I mean, like I laid every thought, every question out, and he said that it doesn't happen with anybody else. And I'm like,
Okay.
that's when I was like, well, what gave you the idea that I would even want something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you
That might have
didn't.
been a lie.
Yeah,
So,
maybe.
I don't.
He had to protect himself in some place. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe it was true, but
Yeah.
it's unlikely that it's
Right.
true.
Yeah.
Well, right. And wait, may I ask, what is his age approximately?
Apparently we were in school together. He's a year
Oh.
below me, and I'm like, yeah, I don't remember that.
I mean, it's not that relevant, but because men, they
do some things.
yeah, and they, like, and that's, by the way, oh, and he's married too. So it was definitely something on the DL. I was like, just ask you out, but it's because he's
That's the
married.
whole thing. I was just like, why, if you thought that you wanted something to happen here, why not just say something instead of like violating me like that?
Yeah.
Like,
Ugh.
yeah, it was so gross. And I kept going in there. Like, I wasn't allowed to speak my truth growing up. Like all of the things. And it was like, I'm sitting here uncomfortable because I don't want to make him uncomfortable. And I don't want to make it an uncomfortable situation while I'm at school. And like all of the things, who cares if he's comfortable? He's creating this. He did this.
Right.
But that's why you did that.
Right.
Because you had to catch yourself doing it in order to figure out what you needed to do about it.
Yeah, I'm grateful for the lesson.
Right.
I mean, grateful for the lesson. And, that's what I've been working on, is speaking my truth and speaking up for myself, like I did with that partner that they put me with in that plant medicine class for the plant dietas. And I ended up with this beautiful partner, Marwa. We still talk every week. In fact, she messaged me. I didn't even see what the message said. I just saw her name on it. We're holding each other accountable for speaking our truth. That's what we've been doing. Awesome. And so I saw her name come across my phone right before I ran into him. And I was like, oh, today is the day. I went right up to my car and I was like, I did it.
Wow. That's so amazing. Thank you for sharing it. I'm so glad you shared it. Yeah, you're almost getting out of here without telling us about it.
I almost didn't, just because of the time. And then I was like, no, I got to.
Yes. Yeah, you spoke your truth to us. And we're here for it.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. I love it. I love it so much. Yeah. And you know what you did too? In your energy now, Sydney feels that. Sydney, even though she wasn't there to witness it, she's witnessing it now.
Yeah.
And so good. I love chills. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
So good. Oh my gosh. That's wonderful. I took away from my attempted assault, my attempted attack too, like how I close it up was I wasn't attacked because I was protected. Not only possibly by spirit and all that, but by myself. I saw him. He wasn't able, I already had a plan to not be near him. You know what I mean? So I took away that. I actually came away from that recognizing that I am safe. I kept myself safe, and anyway, so yeah, you got to celebrate yourself at every step. So congratulations. And
thank you.
So beautiful. Yeah. Oh, guys. Well, I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for being here tonight. And yeah, we're off next week, but we have the Modern Mystic. It's gonna be really cool, the Akashic session. So, okay. All right, guys. Well,
So
yeah.
I was just getting ready to start that class because
Oh,
I
okay.
think you taught it right around the time my mom passed, so I
Probably, yeah.
didn't
It
do
was
it.
in December and
And
January. Yeah.
I'm curious if I should just wait until after you do this and then
Oh,
do
no.
that.
No,
Does
I
it
think
matter?
I think you can go ahead. You'll whatever you get in of the class, I think it will support, you know,
Okay.
your understanding. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Great. Thank you.
Cool.
Bye.
Yeah. All right, guys. Have a great night.
All right. Love
You
you guys.
too.
Bye.
Thanks so much, Tricia.
Thank you. Wait, stay end stream. There it is.